This video is for you if you learned how to function, how to get things done, how to hold it all together, even when you feel like things are falling apart. But somewhere deep down, in the deep down, you're not here. Maybe you are physically, but energetically, you're just drained. Maybe you're the strong one, the person that can hold it all together, and the person that people come to, and yet there's no one who you can go to when you are breaking down, when you have no place to rest, when you have no place to show up, and you only feel like you have yourself. In this video, we're going to be talking about the true cost of survival mode, what it does to your body, what it does to your energy to be stuck in survival mode, what it looks like in your nervous system. So if it feels like you can't catch a break, or like your days all blur together and everything is just kind of bleh, and if this is already sounding like you and it's sounding like you're in the right place, go ahead and give this video a like, as it helps grow the channel and gets this information out to more people. I'm Toni the Trauma Doula, and I'm here to support people in reconnecting with the parts of themselves that they had to discard and or hide to survive. So let's talk about when survival mode becomes the default. First off, what is survival mode? So essentially, this is the mode in which your nervous system is only concerned with surviving. It's only concerned with getting by and getting through another day. And this is costing you. When you grow up in chaos and instability, your nervous system learns that safety is something that is earned. But here's the thing. All true rest requires safety. And so you're going along in your life and you never get to a point where you feel safe enough to rest, even if you're out of the situation, even if your circumstances have changed. So you end up learning how to function, but you never learn how to rest. And you stay in the cycle of just surviving rather than becoming a thriver and a driver of your own destiny. And if we really think about it, survival mode is a body, a nervous system, an energy that never really got permission to rest. But who do you need permission from to rest? Who do you need permission from? And that gets us into where it comes from to be in survival mode, to never feel like you can rest, and to always feel like you are always on the edge of your seat waiting for something to happen rather than living your life. If you're always concerned with what's next, are you really living? If you can never drop your shoulders and take a breath and feel true safety in your body, are you really living? These are the questions we have to start asking ourselves when we talk about being in survival mode. At times, and at a certain point in time, being in survival mode supported you. It helped you get through. But when you no longer are in danger, and we'll just say it in general, when you're no longer in the danger that you were in, but your body and your nervous system is still living as if, there are major costs to your health and your well-being and your energy. Because now your energetic set point is at a place of attraction of everything is unsafe. The world is unsafe. It will always be unsafe. And therefore, this is how I have to live. And so when you start to recognize that, it's no wonder that things are the way that they are right now. So let's just step back and start talking about what are some of the day-to-days of what it looks like, what it feels like to be in survival mode. So in your body, you may notice that you're always clenching. Maybe your shoulders are always kind of up in your neck. Maybe your neck, where your shoulders connect, is always tight. Maybe your jaw and your teeth are always clenched together. Maybe your hips are super, super tight. Maybe your feet are sore. Maybe there's always this sense of constriction in your body, like you can't even breathe in. Maybe there's some diaphragm issues from shallow breathing. That's just the physical. Let's talk about the mental, emotional toll of being in survival mode. First of all, the brain fog. There is a brain fog, and something else that happens is tunnel vision. And this is where all the possibilities, all the energy around you focuses in on this tunnel vision to the next thing. Maybe the next thing is just getting that next paycheck. Maybe the next thing is just getting home from work. Maybe that next thing is just being able to get up another day to go to the job. But that doesn't really sound like a life. And you could spend years in this tunnel vision. But the things that the tunnel vision doesn't allow is vision. Okay? Vision. Tunnel vision is literally this. And it closes off the vision for your life. And it's one thing that has been absolutely consistent for a lot of trauma survivors, is that they do not have a vision for their life. And they have difficulty setting goals around any kind of future, because there is an inner child that is still living within you that believes that the future is not here and it will never come, because they have been abandoned in a place and in a space that they are still just surviving. And even if you're in a different circumstance, that does not matter, because there is an energy and an inner child that has been left behind in a place of abandonment. You've abandoned yourself, you were abandoned by others, and now you abandon your future, because to that space within you, there is no future. There is only the thing that happened, and there's nothing else. And so that tunnel vision really holds people who've had significant trauma back. Now let's talk about the energy of that. Energetically, when you are living in tunnel vision and you have this wounded inner child that has been left behind in that abandonment energy, and you are divorced from yourself and from recognizing and filling into the spaces within you that are holding the survival mode, is very difficult energetically to move out of that, because now all your thoughts, feelings, and desires are wrapped up in an inner wounded child that is just surviving, that is just getting by, that the thing is still happening and it never ended. And because you've divorced yourself from that energy, you are still living out that energy in an unconscious way. And so when we talk about the hidden cost survival mode, your energetic set point becomes the set point of the inner child you last left behind. And all the dreams and wishes and things for the future that they had, that your inner child had, are still within you somewhere. But you've put them on the back burner and you don't pursue them, because what happens when we're in survival mode? That tunnel vision comes on, and energetically you don't feel like you deserve anything else. You don't feel like you deserve to move on. You don't feel like you deserve to live a better life. And that is not your fault, because at some point in time, somebody said, your feelings don't matter. Your needs don't matter. You don't matter. Somewhere along the way, some adult person said, hey, why don't we consider everything that I need? Because you're too much. You play too much. You're 7. Right? You're supposed to play. Right? That's your job. That's the job of childhood. Play. Right? You're playing too much. all of these messages about who you were and who you needed to be. Oftentimes, I always found it kind of funny how there were a lot of adults telling children to grow up. And you may have heard this. I remember in middle school, one of the middle school teachers, I think, was mad that I don't even know, but there would be assemblies where the middle school teachers were saying, you guys need to grow up. You're gonna be with people who drive cars next year. You're gonna be in high school. Okay, but a lot of middle schoolers are 12, 13. How much growing up does a 12 and 13-year-old need to do? So these are messages that you're not good enough as you are. You need to be better. Stop acting childish, even though you're a child, and make me comfortable as the adult. Center me in what I find right and upright as the adult. And then maybe you will deserve what? Generally, it was about deserving rest or love or kindness. A lot of times the messages were, I'm gonna take away my kindness until you act the way I want you to act. I'm going to take away my love until you act the way I want you to act. I'm gonna take away your rest. How many people were punished with, you can't go to bed until this, or you need to wake up early for that, when teens and children need more sleep than adults? And so then you get these messages that you don't deserve rest. You don't deserve kindness unless you change your behaviors and put away who you are. Put away. Because oftentimes, this wounded inner child, this place that was abandoned, this place that was put aside, this place that was you, it was more about someone else's comfort. And this is what I want you to hear. It was more about someone else's comfort and not anything about who you were. But who you were got in the way of someone else's comfort. And so now you put yourself in a corner. You put yourself in the things that were special and beautiful to you, the things that made you feel alive and safe, got put away in a closet because someone else was uncomfortable with it. And this is the real hidden cost of survival mode, is that you have put the things that are true to you away. The things that bring you light, the things that bring you joy, the things that spark you, that make you feel more alive, that make you feel. And now you're living half a life. Now you can't sit down. Now being still means sitting with the thing that is coming up inside of you that just wants to live, that just wants to breathe, that just wants to freaking exist in the world. All because you got told you weren't enough. All because of that thing that happened that made you feel real unsafe. And no one ever showed up for you. All because your nervous system is on fire and simply needs a place to come and breathe, to be and to be seen without judgment. And sometimes you can't be that place because you've taken on the voice. You've taken on the voices, you've taken on the energy, you've taken on the perspective of another person and made it the perspective through which you see yourself. Do you hear me? You have made the perspective of another person the lens through which you see your own self. And you wonder why you can't sit still. Because you're still listening to the lies that someone told you about who you are and who you needed to be. Of course you're in survival mode. You're on fire from the inside out. And your soul will call out every single day to you until you are able to listen, until you're able to act on it, until you're able to come home to yourself. To be honest, that's not where I was going with this video. So So if you have a comment about anything I said, if you agree, if you feel me, please comment below so that other people can feel seen and recognize that they're not alone in this. Because that's the important thing, is that you're not alone in this. You know, you're not the only one. The world looks the way it looks because not enough people are living in their own truth. Everybody's trying to be something that's not them. Everybody's trying to do something that's not them. Everybody's trying to like make it logical because they are listening to the perspective and the lens of the people who put something on you that isn't yours. That's the energetic set point. Okay, so who is it? Whose lens are you seeing yourself through? And how long will you see yourself through the lens of someone who doesn't know you? And when will you begin to learn yourself so you can know yourself? So people can't put stuff on you that's not yours. Those are great questions to ask yourself. You might comment below and tell me. Otherwise, this video is getting a little bit long. So how can you start to shift out of survival mode? First of all, I don't even know what of all we're on. I don't know if we're on first, second, or third. But anyway, how can you begin to shift out of the survival mode is ask yourself new questions. Because oftentimes when you're in survival mode, your nervous system is on fire, you're living out of this place of someone else's truth other than your own, you will begin to hear and notice the discomfort, and the dissonance will get stronger and stronger until you step into the light of yourself and become known by yourself. That's how change honestly happens, is to become aware of yourself being aware of yourself. That's meta, but okay. And let me just go a little bit further with that. To begin shifting from survival mode into a calm, centered nervous system. And calm doesn't always mean I'm so calm and zen. It might not mean that. Sometimes it means you need to get angry because you've never been angry before. Sometimes it means you need to get sad because you don't let yourself feel sadness. Sometimes it means you're going to be more anxious before you have that healing crisis and the anxiety falls away, right? Because oftentimes we're anxious because we're not doing a thing that we should be doing, and we get stuck in anxiety, but that's for a different video. How can you begin to actually shift out of survival mode and into a safe nervous system? First, you need to be held with a non-judgmental witness. Whether you become that witness, whether you have someone in your life that can be that witness, whether I'm that witness, whether your therapist is that witness, it does not matter. The non-judgmental witness that can look at you and see you and feel you and hear you is one of the most important things for coming into safety with self. Co-regulation, or coming into supportive regulation and being in the energy of someone who is non-judgmental, is super important so that you can begin to rewire your nervous system into one that is safe, that feels safe to be witnessed. And then you know what it's like to feel safe, and then you start to notice, ooh, I notice I clench up around this person. I don't feel safe with this person. Why is that? You can start to ask those questions. Another way is, again, the questions you start to ask yourself will lead you to shifting from survival mode into safety, which is the first. Safety is the first place you need to be before you can do any healing work. Otherwise, it's not really gonna stick. It's not really gonna go anywhere because you don't feel safe, right? But the other thing is start to ask yourself, what's the best thing that could happen? Because oftentimes we get stuck in the mode of believing and jumping to the worst case scenario. Survival mode, you're gonna jump to the worst case scenario, okay? All the time. I remember when I was anxious all the time and I would be having panic attacks all the time, I went to a friend and I was talking about my cat and I was so worried about my cat, and she just stopped me and she was like, have you noticed you jump to the worst case scenario all the time? Even when you don't know. We can find out, you know, we're gonna take your cat to the vet. But you jump to the very worst case scenario immediately. Do you notice that? And I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And that is because your nervous system is on fire. That was because my nervous system was on fire. And I had never been witnessed, not by myself and not by another. You know, and that was like a turning point. one of many turning points. But all that is to say is start to ask yourself different questions. Is this a worst case scenario? Why did I immediately jump there? What's the best thing that could happen? And if you find it difficult to think of the best thing that could happen, that's your sign that you're probably living in fear and contraction, which is a very different energy to expansion and expression, which is a very different energy than safety, right? Contraction, fear, not safe. So if you want to start to shift your nervous system, shift into alignment, move your energy into a calmer, more, I wouldn't even say calm, sorry, that's not what I meant, into safety. Okay, you're shifting into safety so you can shift into the energetic expression of all that you are and stop hiding and come out. Come out as you are. Be who you are and pick yourself up, your inner child up from the place that you abandoned them so that you could survive. That's what we do here. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments, and if you have any questions or anything, let me know in the comments below. I will see you in the next video.